Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Vinland Saga. Last time around we had The Road Home, where Thorfinn fought Snake unarmed, and both of them were basically in their heads thinking, I wasn't quite expecting how good he was, so both of them were quite surprised by the other's skills. But yeah, it was a good fight, but ultimately didn't work out because Snake was able to get over to Garter and was able to stab him. And then Garter still, I don't know how this man does this. Is like you could run cities off of the energy this man has. Garter leapt up and choked the crap out of Snake until he passed out. And then he and Arnheid rode off into the sunset, and we had a very, 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 very long death sequence for Garter, but it was good. Like, I'm not saying that was a bad thing. It was really good. It was very touching. And yeah, that is, I think, I mean, I don't know. He could still be alive somehow, but now I think that is the end of Garter. And then at the end, there were men on horseback surrounding Arnheid and Garter. So, yeah, that's pretty much where we left off. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Vinland Saga. Here we go. I bet this entire season, all of you have just been, like, shaking your monitors every time when I've been like, man, Catil's a great guy. He's actually a nice slave owner, which is a horrible thing to say, but he's actually a nice guy. You know, he takes care of his people. He's not harsh. He's a good person. And you're all just shaking your monitors like you have no idea. In the end, he's just like the rest of them. In the end, it doesn't even matter. Oh, man. This sucks. The good news, the Dacia Sandero, Canute, I'm now completely back on Canute's side. Not like I really was against Canute. I mean, like, look, Canute's always fascinating, but, like, Canute's always interesting and fun to watch, but, like, you know, before I was like, oh man, but Catil, you know, is his farm, why can't, you know, work together and stuff like that and stuff. And he's doing all these things, you know. But now I'm like, yeah, you're doing all these things, and some of these things you do may be questionable, but also, Catil's a bastard, so he's a bastard. Even the kindest of dogs can bite. At the end of the day, what is he if not man? After being broken by Canute and staying in a barrel. Like, I like how they have a comedic part of that. Of, you know, Thorgil takes the barrel and chucks it and hits the three of them like bowling pins. And, you know, then it busts out and he's, you know, just rolling along the ground. Like, that's really funny. The fact is, though, that he was in that barrel the entire time. And, you know, solitary confinement can really mess someone up, you know? It can really mess someone up when you have no stimuli at all. Yeah, that can mess you up. And it did mess him up. And the first thing he hears is Arnheid tried to escape him. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He didn't see what we saw. He didn't see all the episodes we saw. Which, like, what? How many episodes was that? Like, I guess 5. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That was 5 episodes of the Garter arc. He didn't see any of that. All he heard was Arnheid tried to escape with her old flame. And he just went ballistic. And now it has created the Iron Fist. This has actually created the Iron Fist, which kind of makes you wonder, you know, I mean, he said that all the stories were made up. Do you almost wonder if he, like, blacked out? You know? Like, Catil is actually like Zenitsu, except an abuser. Like, when Catil, like, blacks out, he becomes this, like, badass, you know, amazing Viking and stuff. But that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. So, unlike Zenitsu, where Zenitsu, when he blacks out, he becomes cool. Catil, when he blacks out, he becomes a monster. You know, that's where you see where the strength that Thorgil has comes from, you know? Man, and, like, like, how amazing, I say amazing loosely, but how crazy is it that the fact that Arnheid, you know, was beaten like that, and that's such a crazy thing that happened, that we literally didn't get the reunion between Thorfinn and Leif. Granted, I guess we've already had that before. We had that at the end of last season, you know? We had that at the end of last season where, you know, after, 11 years, he finally found Thorfinn. Whereas this is, like, after 4 years, he found Thorfinn again, you know? But that's the thing, you know, when they went to collect, they would, like, at the very least, Thorfinn would have recognized him, but it's literally, we cannot have any good, emotional, happy reunion between those two because of what happened to Arnheid. Man, are we gonna have to get Thorfinn versus Catil? I mean, we might get Einar versus Catil. Einar, he's finally ready. He's about to go cut some bitches, you know? Einar's been ready, but Einar can't do it. Einar's not good enough. Einar's not good enough to do it. So is Thorfinn gonna have to do it? Get this man a dagger or two. Like, someone, please get this man a dagger. That was accidentally a John Wick 2 reference. Like, it just suddenly... Like, as I was saying that, I was like, wait, this is like how Lawrence Fishburne says it in John Wick Chapter 2. Is it Chapter 2? Yeah, it's Chapter 2. Because that was like one of the big things in the trailer was that... Spoiler alert, Lawrence Fishburne came back. Like, well, he came in and was like, oh, it's a reunion of the Matrix, you know? I don't know. It's been a long time since I've watched a John Wick movie, I'm going to be honest. I liked the first one. I didn't really care for the second one, so I just didn't watch the other two, so... Yeah. I hear they're good, but those people also say John Wick Chapter 2 is good, and I didn't really care for... Whatever. Doesn't matter. What matters is... Someone get this man a dagger. Preferably two. It would be great if he could get his father's dagger back, but... And of course, this is all on top of the fact that I don't want Thorfinn to ever fight anybody ever again. But it's clear that that's going to happen. So anyway, so now, again, like I said, I'm perfectly on board with Canute coming in and destroying the Catil family, because they all kind of suck, you know? Like, I guess... Oh, my God. We've actually gotten to the point where it's like, well, Olmar is okay. Like, that's where we are in our lives. Like, Catil sucks, Thorgil sucks, his wife sucks. Just the whole ungrateful slave. It's like, yeah, why don't you be a fucking slave, then? You dumb bitch. Now, would Catil have been this... crazy if he hadn't been broken by Canute and spent like a week in a barrel? I don't know, but it certainly didn't help. It certainly didn't help, so... I don't know, man. What else is there to say? What else is there to say? This sucks. Like, I was kind of sitting here like, oh, well, what if they have, like... You know, what if Thorfinn and Einar tried to help defend the farm and everything? I mean, I guess we all kind of knew something would have to happen. Because, like, before all of this went down, you know, Catil is like, oh, when I get back, I know it won't be time for harvest yet, but when I get back, you two are free to go, I'm gonna free you guys early, but it's like, I guess we kind of knew, like, something had to happen. I thought it was just gonna be this whole Canute thing, but no. Now, I mean, to be fair, Thorfinn and Einar are free. But Arneid, that's a whole new problem. Because it's not even a thing of, oh, well, we have to, escape with her. Because now she's injured. Now she's exactly like Garter, She's exactly like Garter, where he was critically injured and they were trying to escape. Now she's critically injured and they're gonna maybe try to escape. Either that, or they're just gonna have to go face this friggin' family. But that means facing Snake again, and the rest of the guests. There's Snake, the guest, Thorgil, Ketil. To be fair, I guess Thorfinn and Einar could get help from Canute. That's weird. That's so weird. I can't believe I'm saying that, but they might be able to get help from Canute and the Jomsviking. Yeah, maybe, hey, guys, we're in a prime position now. Maybe Floki will do something. That has been, like, one of the weirdest things about this show, is he's introduced in episode 2 as this crazy threat and then does nothing in this show, But that was because he hired Askeladd to kill Thors. And then from there, we just never saw him do anything, Can they have... Is it too late to bring Thorkel here? I mean, Thorkel, he'll want to fight Thorfinn, but I'm sure he would love fighting Thorgil. Thorgil and Thorkel, they would that'd just be like heaven for the two of them, but Ketil, I don't know, man. I don't know. What do we do? What's gonna happen now? Like I was sitting here like, oh, the big thing we gotta worry about is Canute. Nope. Canute's fine. The thing we have to worry about now is getting the hell out of Dodge without dying in this war that's happening, The battle between Ketil and Canute. We have to be sure we're not in the friggin' crossfire, Like, is it possible? I don't think it is with her critical condition, because otherwise, if Arneid was fine, then we could just go, but the fact that she's so beat up, it's like, we can't put her on a boat. We can't move her, Like this, it's really bad. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that baby is not surviving either. Like, well, good news, Einar. Good news, Einar. If she pulls through this and makes a full recovery, you have a chance. This whole season has been just like, does Einar have a chance? Like, I keep going, and it's like, I'm like, I like kind of root for him, because he's Einar, he's our bro, but then with every passing episode, it's like, okay, that's not gonna happen, Einar. He still wants to help her, and that's great, that's not even really about being in love, that's just Einar being a good person, like Einar is, but, oh my gosh, maybe, if she gets well enough and they can escape, hey... Maybe you got a chance, buddy. Something else I thought about? That's kind of, like, bugging me. Like, not really bugging me, like, it's not a problem or anything. It's just something in the back of my head. It's, like, I started, like, putting everything in this show in context, and my brain started melting, because, like, thinking about Arneid and Garter, like, oh, they had their child 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, but, they got separated 5 years ago. And I started thinking about that. It's like, oh yeah, that was around the time that King Sweyn died and Askeladd died. And I was like, that's a weird thing to think about in context, because it's like, because these seasons are two very different things. But then I started thinking about, Einar and Arnheid and them, and it's like, I wonder how old they were at the beginning of this show when Thorfinn was a kid. And it's just like, because for some reason, like, it's such a weird thing to me, I guess. It's kind of a weird thing when you see a backstory, but it doesn't take place before the thing, you know? Like, if there was someone in, like, a Marvel movie and it's like, oh, yeah, my backstory when I lost my parents during the attack on New York. Like, the attack on New York? That was in the Avengers! Wait a minute, you know? It's like, I watched the Avengers. That happened at that point, you know? And so that's the thing. It's like, while we were, dicking around with, fighting Thorkel in the snow, Arnheid lost her family, you know? Like, it's just like a weird thing because I wasn't thinking about that back then. Anyway, that's nothing like insightful. That's just something I thought about. So, I mean, it's also the thing of like, it almost feels like a crossover now. It almost feels like we're crossing over two different shows because it's like, oh, here's, characters from last season, Canute, Leif, and now we're crossing that over with characters from this season, Arnheid, Einar, Ketil, and so now it's just like this, it's this weird thing that's happening. Like, it feels like two shows crossing over, but they're the same show. It's just that these things are only linked by Thorfinn, I don't know, man. I don't know why my brain works like that, but here we are. Anywho, that's that. That's all I got for this episode. So, with all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Vinland Saga reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.